Shay Sells, hello. We have finally made it to talking about the main event for UFC 300, which was Alex Pereira versus Jamahal Hill. And look, I don't want to brag or anything, but that's exactly what I'm going to do. A lot of people said Hill is being underestimated, that Alex's boxing defense sucks, that his weakness is straight shots right down the middle. Alex uses that kickboxing Muay Thai stance with his head straight up in the air, and that Hill is going to be finding those 1-2s all day and he's going to knock Alex out. But what none of these people understood was that, yes, Alex is hittable and he is vulnerable to the 1-2s. He is, but that's on purpose. Now, Alex Pereira has a tremendous amount of power. I mean, he broke Francis Ngannou's punch record. And a lot of people tried to make the claim that that punch machine, it's not accurate. Whatever kind of units of measurement it uses is not a fair representation of actually how hard you're hitting, and that a lot of things don't add up. Tom Aspinall was ripping punches on it, and he was only getting like 30 to 40K.
No, he can't have got 129,000.
What?
That is... He can't have done 129,000.
And that it's just really inconsistent. They tried making this claim, and they are probably correct. I mean, I can't imagine he actually hits harder than Francis Ngannou, but it doesn't even matter. The point is, Alex Pereira can 100% put your lights out with one single shot. That's all he needs. So when he's standing there with his head up in the air and his arms down, it looks like he's very vulnerable. It looks like he has no idea what he's doing defensively. But the truth is, he is just waiting to hit you with a super short shot with zero windup that you do not see coming, and it is going to knock you out. This is exactly what he did to Jiri. Jiri lands a good shot. He tries to pressure Alex. Alex's arm is down by his side. As Jiri is in his face, Pereira's uppercut travels approximately 3.5 inches, and then his lead hook about 1.5 inches, and it drops him. That is what makes him so insanely dangerous. He's not loading up on a huge hook. His strikes are so short that you do not see them coming, and they are devastating. Well, that's exactly what we saw against Jamahal Hill. Pereira was waiting for Hill to step in with a right hand, and as soon as he did, he got his head just barely off the center line, landed the short hook with his 2 small knuckles, and you just immediately see Hill's eyes roll to the back of his head. I mean, he was practically out from that one shot. But now, Alex Pereira, he's in a scary place, I will be honest. I had made a video right after Pereira's fight with Jiri, where I said he's almost unbeatable at 205. And I laid out the perfect storybook ending for Pereira's career. I said next, fight Jamahal Hill, beat him, rematch Adesanya at 205, beat him, then retire. Get out of there before Magomed Ankalaev rears his ugly Dagastani head. But we've sort of run into an issue. Israel Adesanya has made it very clear that he wants anything but fighting Alex Pereira again. He wants nothing to do with it, which I don't blame him at all. So maybe there's a fight at heavyweight against Tom Aspinall for Pereira? It doesn't seem likely. It seems like it's going to be Curtis Blaydes versus Aspinall. So it might be time to face reality. Alex Pereira may have to fight Magomed Ankalaev. The reason why I do not want this matchup for Pereira is because Magomed has a lot of tendencies all the other Dagestanis have. And that is being so well-rounded. By no means is Ankalaev unbeatable. We've seen him in trouble in his UFC career so far. But just from a skill set standpoint, he is a really, really good striker. Super fast. He's got good takedowns. He can hit you with power double legs. And when he gets you on the ground, he does not just hang on for dear life. He has that Dagestani top pressure. He gets higher than you. He gets you in that Dagestani handcuff. And it is just not easy to stand back up with him. It just isn't. But even with all that being said, I am not ready to jump ship yet. In fact, I think this is a winnable fight for Pereira. It's also a losable fight, but as far as early breakdowns go, here are the variables. Now, the first big thing we need to look at is the fact that Magomedov said himself that he is going to strike with Alex Pereira, that he is not going to attempt taking him down, which at face value, I have a very hard time believing that. But at the same time, while Ankalaev is a very good grappler, he prefers to be striking. He spends about 99% of his fights standing up. The only reason he was wrestling Jan was because he got his legs destroyed. So, okay, maybe he's not shooting the second the bell rings. Well, in that case, the big thing about his striking is he is a counter striker, 100%. He likes walking guys down, he likes putting a lot of pressure on them, but he never extends first. What he always tries to do is use his pressure to force out strikes from you so he can counter. And because of how fast he is very good at countering, and he has a very good lead check hook. And the other big variable is he's a southpaw, so that low outside calf kick from Pereira's back leg isn't going to be there. But as we've seen, Pereira will use his lead leg to land calf kicks, and it's very effective and very fast. Tough to defend against because there's just zero tell. Of course, there's not nearly as much power as there would be with the back leg, but if you're landing on the calf, those are going to add up. So if Ankalaev chooses to strike with Pereira, he's going to be trying to walk him down, trying to cut him off from circling. And if he's standing in front of Pereira trying to bait out his shot, that short calf kick is going to be there. And Alex being an inch taller with a 4-inch reach advantage, he's not going to need to overextend to try to land. He's going to be able to fight very long behind his jab and the calf kick, and he's going to make Magomed try to close the distance, which he is not used to doing. So if Ankalaev decides to try to use some of his brain cells and wrestle, which, let's be honest, he's going to do, he's going to have to find a way to get Pereira to respect his striking so he can set up his takedowns. If he just shoots out in the open, no setup, Pereira is going to be able to defend it. For the longest time in the UFC, if you were a wrestler going up against a striker, you were going to ragdoll them. There was no question. But the times have changed. Guys are very well-rounded. Pereira will never be a high-level wrestler, but he's been putting in a ton of work with Glover. There's tons of videos online of him wrestling hard. It's not as simple as Ankalaev just needs to get a hold of him. He needs to either set up his shot well or back him up to the fence to shoot. And even then, Pereira has shown to be very, very physically strong up against the fence. But a bad habit he does have is instead of shooting for underhooks, he kind of goes for a guillotine that, of course, Joe Rogan and Daniel Cormier always freak out about how tight it is.
Pereira's got a guillotine. He's deep on that. Yeah, that's tight. Yuri's got to adjust this.
But it just simply is not very tight at all. Alex is certainly putting pressure on the right side of Yuri's neck, but his left side is breathing fine. And it was the exact same thing against Blachowicz. So up against the fence, Ankalaev has a good shot at taking him down, but I think it's going to be easier said than done getting him there. With the amount of power Pereira has and how good he is with those counters, that you have to be extremely careful opening up against him, and that is just not Ankalaev's strong suit. He is a counterpuncher. But if he takes Pereira down, that's where we run into some serious problems. When Blachowicz took Pereira down in round 2, Alex was able to scoot to the fence and slowly work his way up. But that's because Blachowicz is not a very good grappler. He was just hanging on for dear life. But when Ankalaev gets you down, he gets higher than you. He makes you carry all of his weight. As soon as you turtle, he grabs you in that Dagastani handcuff. He's ready to slide his hooks in. He has a level of control from on top that I don't think Pereira has faced yet. Most likely, if Alex got taken down, he would just kind of try to stall out the round and reset on the feet. But I just don't think there would be any way for Pereira to get back up safely, unless he comes out with some new skills we've never seen before. Overall, I feel a bit better about Alex's chances against Ankalaev than I did in the past, but I think it is life or death to avoid this takedown. I really do.